Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am just going to share the live stream on Twitter and we will get rocky and rolling. I hope you are having an amazing weekend. I am a little chilly in my office. The heat was turned off. We were out all day, so I'm all snuggled up with my little shawl on. And we're going to go ahead and look at the market. What is going to happen this week? For sure, with all the voting that's going to be happened, that has already happened, we could have some crazy volatility. So let me just come join me live. All right, and let's pull up the charts. All right, so I will remove the background, make it a little bit easier, and I'm going to refresh and open up the chat up above on my other computer so that we will be all set. I see I got 5 viewers. Welcome, welcome. I hope you guys are having an amazing weekend. All right, there we go. Everything should be all set up. I can see you guys, and I now have the chat. Hello, Asif. Hello, Kalakawa. Aloha, right? So we've got the SPY up on the weekly chart over here on the right. We tested this level from before, almost 322.01, an important level to watch, and we came down. We are below the 21 EMA and below the 20 simple moving average, not looking good. However, on the shorter time frame over here, on the 45-minute chart, we have bounced back up above this trend line, which you can see once we broke that here on the 5th of October, we surged higher, came up. This trend line was drawn from the highs here, and we've pulled back. Now, looking at the volume down below, we had more volume over the last week than we did the beginning of September when we had the drawdown. So there is a potential that the big guys are entering into the market right here. Let me also apply these indicators to the entire layout. So we have the moving averages over here on the right. So we are below that 425 EMA. Hey, Mark, that is my bear hat, right? So until we can break back above 338.50, still feeling bearish on the SPY. Let's also look at the Qs over here. So the Qs, we have not gone below the 21 EMA. Now remember, the tech stocks are very strong in relation to COVID. Hey, Arky. In relation to COVID, a lot of people are online, a lot of computers, a lot of microchips, all that is really strong in the sector right now. It looks almost like we have a double top here on our weekly chart. However, look at this. I just noticed this. If we somewhat draw a trend line from right here, the low here to the low here, we have almost bounced off of that, right? Oh my goodness, on the 45-minute, look at that. We bounced off it almost to the penny. That's crazy, right? So looking at that, and we're above this yellow upward trend line that was established prior, much further back, I believe. Yeah, back over there, this one right here. This yellow trend line from the lows here, right? Low back here, low here, and here. So we are up above that. So the the Qs might be able to lift the rest of the market up. Let's check out Apple as well on the 45-minute chart and the weekly. I'm really liking the weekly because it's giving us that bigger picture view. As Alan Rohrbach says, this is our 30,000 foot view, right? We see almost like an M right here with the midline hanging out around 104.10. Well, we're not below that. So as long as we're able to hold above this, we bounced off of our 20 simple moving average on the weekly chart. So this could be indicative that we are going to move to the upside as well. Let me just grab something up here. Let me grab this, and I'm going to actually share it on LinkedIn too. So, oh, look at that. Super easy to do on the other computer. All right. And looking at that, Apple and Microsoft are huge. However, we have had some dark pool activity and we are above it. Excuse me, correction, we are below that dark pool activity. The dark pool activity was above us, so therefore we might view it as selling. If we can break above over here, this midline area, really 1540, if we surge higher coming into the elections, we might see that we will be setting new highs in the market. However, we are drawing down right now on our monthly chart. Let's check out the monthly chart for Apple as well to see, hey, have we taken out, oh, I didn't mean to do it on that side. Right, so we have not fully engulfed, we have an inside month for October for Apple. When was the last time we had an inside month? Back here in April. And where did we go? We surged higher, right? How many weeks did it take us to surge higher? Starting in April, the low back here, March 30th, and we overtook it. We overtook, what's the price here? $75. So really it took until May 4th. Okay, the first week right here. We had the inside, so May 4th. So really a month. So we might see that November is a wild and crazy month. We might not be setting highs right here. And then the first week in December, we hit that high of the market and then pull back going into the new year, maybe with some profit taking if those people have not already taken profits at the moment. Let's check out Microsoft as well. Yeah, we'll definitely chart out Dan and Duncan. Uh-oh. I have a little guest here unannounced, and you're not supposed to be here, love. Can you please go back to your room? She's thinking that she wants to see herself on camera, but you're not allowed on camera, okay? All right. Yeah, you can have your little voice, but we're not going to have you on camera, okay? All right, so Microsoft, we are hitting this trend line over here, but it's above us on the 45-minute chart. And little sneakers, you gotta love when you get photobombed by 3-year-olds, right? All right, so looking at Microsoft over here, it's bouncing up a little bit. She stole my mic cover, rascal. We are below the 50 simple moving average on the 45-minute chart, and our 425 is way up here at 211. So again, like Apple, we've not crossed down below that midline. We put it right here. We've pretty much balanced off of it, or bounced off of it roughly that $200 mark. We went to 199.66. Hey, if we break below 199.50, there's a good chance that we could be heading down in the market overall. Let's also look at Amazon. No playing with that, please, love. You're allowed to be quiet, but no playing with that stuff. All right, Amazon on the weekly, same scenario. It's pulled back. We might be bouncing off of that 21 EMA. If you look on the weekly, the 14th of September and 21st of September, we hovered around here and we bounced up above. So this volume that came in end of day on Friday, right? We had 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Almost 3 hours around this low where it bounced off of 30.23 and moved to the upside. You can see it's showing a little oversold down here. Many times when it's oversold, as even over here after hours, it surged higher and then it pulled back. There's a potential that we'll see it surge higher, and would like to see it really hold that 30.20, and for a breakout to the upside, she's playing with, all right, I'd like to see it break above 32.51 for sure. All right, Jones. All right, so let's get into the list. All right, I will pull it up for you guys and show it to you over here. All right, so here's my list. Well, we have it on the right hand side: MGI, CVA, Garmin, TAP, ABBV, SON, Xilinx, EFX, FAF, Snap, Tile, Otter, Goose, and Target for potential longer term swings. So let's head over here. Head and shoulders on Amazon. Potentially, let's go back. Arky on that weekly. it could be a Head and Shoulders, kind of a skewed one. Here, let's go and use this cool tool. It's right here, the Head and Shoulders. This one's really cool. So if we go down here, 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 but it came down further, right? And then it came back up. So it's kind of a Head and Shoulders. Maybe it's going to come back down here and then surge higher. We'll see. For me, it really needs to take out the 21 EMA on the weekly chart. Hi, IQ Micro. Welcome. I'm from Toronto, not too far away. How's the weather there? We've got rain today. We had an amazing Halloween. I hope you guys had a great Halloween as well. All right, so MGI. When we look back at this on the daily chart over here, it's got a nice big volume candlestick here, right? And seeing that on the weekly, we did hit the 200 EMA over here. However, we're starting to trend higher, somewhat have an upward channel on the daily, pretty wide. If we put down here, right here, and then we have another steeper one right here to right here. Excuse me, that's not where I wanted to go, but I can adjust it. So we have two. Here we go. This, I'm going to pull it back here and pull this up here. So it's up at the upward bound of this channel. So you might want, I would potentially wait for this to pull back. Had big volume after earnings. If this can potentially hold this 482 area, right? We want to see it hold this support 485. That would be a nice area to get in potentially to the long side with such crazy volume. So let's go into a shorter time frame over here on the left, 15-minute chart. IQ Micro, we will get into it and look at it. All right, so on our 15-minute chart, I'd like to see that this will hold support of $5. And I'd like to see it break out above 520. And I'm going to erase the other lines down there. It does look like it had some selling power. So again, I'd like to see that it really holds 480. That area, if it can hold 480 where it broke out from there and really surged higher during the pre-market activity. Yes, thank you. We had a great Halloween. It was awesome here. I'm in Montreal. All right, so I didn't write down those levels. Over here for the prices, pull it up. All right, so MGI 5 and 522. Hey Google, off. Hey Google, off. All right, let's move on to CVA. CVA also had crazy volume spike on Friday. We are up above a whole bunch of moving averages. No snow, just rain. So big move, potential move up to $9.58, $9.86, $10 from here. And this is, I believe, a waste management company. So I'd like to see it break out above that 920 mark and hold support over here. You can see that there was resistance, roughly 875, and that flipped to be support, right? It never actually touched there. So I'd like to see that hold at 875. And 920. All right, and Garmin. I'll add Neo on as well, for sure. We'll check that out. So Garmin, another great day, had earnings, great 3 days, and we surged higher. Let's pull this up here, and we'll make sure that it's on both charts. All right, So we want to see 102.40 hold as support. You can see over here on the daily chart. We want to see that hold as support. Bring it down to 40 cents. What was support in the past? We want to see that hold again. You can see when it was breached here, it really pulled back and came all the way back down to the 200 simple moving average. So we're up here, we're testing this resistance zone from the past. And actually, I'm going to move this up to 105 because it really has not been able to break even tighter. Actually, pull it down just a little bit right there. 104.70. It has not been able to break above there. This one day it closed above and then extremely negative bearish engulfing the next day. So we've had sellers step in. It would need to take this out. That round number is important too at 105. So keeping all that in watch on the directional movement indicator, it looks like we are moving to the upside. However, it's really extended. It might need to come back before it surges higher again. So 102.40 and 104.70. All right, let's go to TAP. Last week we had Samuel Adams on here, and this week we have TAP, Molson Brewing Company, right? Lots of people are drinking beer during this pandemic time. I'd like to see 34.50 hold as support and break out above 35.30. It's a green over here. 35.40, let's pull it up here. Actually 35.50. Let's bring it all the way up. You can see how we really had some resistance back here in the past. So 34.60, actually down just a little bit, 34.50 and 35.50 right there for TAP. All right, now when we bring this and we look on the daily chart as well, we have, you see when it hit this 425, what happened? It pretty much sold off. We've had it drop down, it bounces up, comes back down, bounces up. So we have a bit of a wedge that's going on, right? Visually. No, I don't want a line. I'd like a trend line, please. We draw it all the way here, right? We have a bit of a trend line. And look, we've just broken out. We had a higher than normal volume. Are we going to be able to break above that 35.50 and then next test up here at 36 and then on up to 36.80, and then we're going to get into resistance of this area over here. On the weekly chart, you might be able to see it better. Right? So this has a nice downward trend that we've now broken on this earnings. Many times going into the Christmas season, here we are back in October. All right, let's go to November 1st. It pulled down last year. So will this continue to pull down and follow that downward trend line, or is this that breakout of the trend? Now the really big guys have been loading up, holding it and bouncing it off of 34, then 33, and then 32 area. Will it break down to 31, or are they done? Every time that it came down here, there was some more volume that came into it, right? Volume here. Then there was some selling volume off of that 21 EMA. So biggest confirmation would be above 36.80. If we could break that, move to the upside. And over time, this really just does not look like it's been that healthy of a stock. I mean, look, we were up at 112 back in 2016, and now we're down at roughly a quarter of that. So potential growth here, potentially. Potential. Not saying I'm putting the house on this or anything like that, just looking at that. Okay, ABBV, also potential upside. Let's move these up. All right, we are hitting the 425 on the daily chart. So not really a fan of pharmaceuticals. However, here's what I see, right? We have this area that was resistance in the past, then once it broke it, this was the new resistance level, came back, tested the lower one, and surged higher. Now we've come back down, tested this as support, came up, hit a resistance level roughly 88.50, broke down, came down, tested the support. We had a reversal right here with this doji, and we surged to the upside. Are we going to break above 86.40, or break down below 82.70. That's what I'd like to see. So that's why I give you guys these different potential trades, because where the market takes it, just be prepared for mapping out that trade either direction. All right, let's go to SON. All right, Sunoco products. Well, Sunoco oil industry getting into the tank with everything right now. And we look at it. Here's our 15-minute chart. Came down, we bounced down, tested here, then we hit up a new high and pulled back. So is it going to take out the low of 48.40 or break above 50.15 or 50.20? Let's look at our daily chart. So daily chart, you can see that it's bounced off of this level in the past, right? It bounced here. We didn't really have too much volume. This day there was more volume and it bounced up. Keeps hitting up here, hitting these exponential moving averages. Look at how it keeps rejecting that 425. 425 came up to 56 and rejected back down. So it's almost in a channel like this, where if we draw it from here over, right, and up, we're kind of in an upward channel. So it goes up to the upper bound, comes down, very, very not steep, but flat channel. So if we break down below, well, watch out, maybe we're coming back down to the 40s, lower 40s down here. If we break out above, let's look at our weekly chart. We could see that this might break up and test that $63 mark up here. So it's in an upward channel on the weekly, and we might break up above here, but don't catch the falling knife. Wait for it to show you. And look at what we just bounced off of. Can you guys see that on the weekly chart over here? You guys see that? The 425. Hey, Julio. That we're bouncing off that 425. And look at how many times in the past that 425 has acted as support on that weekly chart. So that's something to watch. Let's also look at Apple, see where the 425 is. Way down here at 44. Curious to see. Microsoft, yeah, really far down at 95. We didn't come all the way down on the weekly when we pulled back in December or in February. So it's just, whereas on the SPY, we pulled all the way down to it, I believe, on the weekly chart. Yep, right there. And the Qs. So I like to see how it all matches up. We never pulled back to it on the Qs. We hit the 200 exponential. Okay, back to these shorts. So SON, Sunoco. Let's go to the daily again. So Sunoco up above 50. Let's put on a 15-minute. Yeah, we'll look at them. So 48.20 and 50.20 here for Sunoco. Let's go to Xilinx. Xilinx big spike up, and when we look at it next to the daily chart, I don't know if I have the daily. I'll just make it so much easier if I put it over here. All right, we have it gapped up, it pulled back to the 21 EMA, gapped up, pulled back, and it pretty much filled the gap to the top of this candlestick. You guys see that? So maybe it will come all the way back down to that 21 EMA again, down here on the daily, down at 114. I would watch for a test of 117.25, or if we can break above, we're hanging around that 425 on the 15-minute chart, above 119.25. So 117.25 and 119.25. For Xilinx, you can see it over here. Big volume up above, and we're below it. Next biggest volume was also up above where we are right now, right here. And if it completely takes out this low of 116.52, we might even come back and test the 112.50 area. All right, EFX. So EFX, Equifax, everyone's probably curious about their credit. I wonder if there's a lot of credit fraud going on right now with everything that's happening in the online world. I haven't heard too much about it. All right, So we would like to see this area right here, 140. I'd like to see it break above 140 if it could, or break down below over here, the low, right? 135.80. I didn't want to draw the line. I'm going to go down the extra 20 cents because we bounced off of that round number. Oh yeah, ASIF. So I was watching the China Hustle on Netflix, and it was quite interesting to see that with Chinese companies, right? Chinese companies in China, if they report something like, if say they had 10 million in sales in China and they report that to China, and then they come over to the US with their US securities and they file $100 million in profits. There's no way for the US to prosecute the company in China. And China does not prosecute the company for reporting false information to the US. So much like Luckin Coffee that was found to have reported false numbers, all Chinese companies basically have this loophole. So what they did, according to the Chinese Hustle, or the China Hustle on Netflix, is that these companies went to, say, Nevada. And there was a mining company that was still listed on the US exchange, but not really active. And what they would do is they would partner. So they would do a reverse partnership, I guess, is what it was called. I don't remember the exact term. So check it out for the exact term. And they would then go in and say this Chinese company goes in with this mining company and they take the ticker of the US mining company. And it was Roth Capital in California that helped really become instrumental with all of these reverse listings or partnerships or whatever they were called, reverse partnership or something like that. Had reverse in it, and I don't remember what the other word was. And they then listed these Chinese companies through the US shell company. And then they started saying, oh, well, we're the #1 fertilizer company in China. And they could report these numbers to the US, but they were false numbers. So what happened in the Chinese Hustle is people from, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Sorry, I was watching it late last night and actually fell asleep while I was watching it. That these guys actually set out sting operations where they filmed the companies in China. And what ended up happening was they saw that there was this one company they were trying to see about their distribution for food sales, and they had one delivery truck. They had 40 workers total, and they were reporting 100 million in sales. I was like, it's not adding up. There's something that was not valid, and they ended up shorting the company. And within 4 days, they made about 75% of their money because, in fact, this company was reporting false numbers. So I've always been really weary about Chinese stocks ever since Luckin Company was so out there in the public and was delisted for reporting false numbers. So be extra cautious as with Chinese companies. There's no way for the SEC to prosecute them and to really defend US shareholders ultimately that could end up getting very hurt by putting in, I think they said something like $50 billion, or maybe it was $150 billion were lost in the US market because of this awful scenario. Oh man, Julio, timing's everything, right? All right, so back to the list. So we've got FAF here too. Little side note there on the China Hustle, but check out the documentary. It's pretty cool. In fact, I don't even know where I fell asleep during it. I fell asleep in the beginning, the middle. It was a long day yesterday with the kiddos and walking around. All right, so FAF, First American, on our daily, you guys can see, hey, we came up, we pretty much hit a resistance level, roughly 54.50. It pulled back February, much like many companies did, and then never could really break comfortably above that 200 simple moving average, and now we're pulling back. We have the next potential low down here, roughly $42, roughly $40. If we break $40, then down to $35. So watch, this might have more of a downside to it, and it had bigger volume as well with earnings. So watch that 45 level. Yep, blind trader, yes, for sure. And 44 for support. 45. I'm going to do 45.20. Move it up just a little bit for that 20 cents. You guys can see, look, it's breaking it down as 20 cents on the right over here. Okay, Snap. Now, Snap had a big move to the upside, right? And then we had earnings, and what happened? Well, we started to pull back with earnings over here. And now we're at the high where it bounced right there, and it pulled back a little bit further. So down to that 38.80. We had a double bottom here. Let's move this up so we can see it better. And we have a resistance level right over here, roughly $41. You can see, hey, it came down, bounced up, we're in that downward trend on the daily where we have a bit of downward price action here, right? So it really need to surge up above. We are hitting the 8 EMA right at the moment, bouncing off of it, and we're below that 425. So need to break 40 and then further confirmation above 41 and this downward trend line. So support of 38.80 and resistance of 41. Potential longs. Oh, I totally mistyped Duncan over here. So we have Tile that has been in a downward trend on the daily. Let's go to the daily charts now. So this has been in a downward trend, right, on the daily chart. And we've had big volume. Now it's still below this 50 simple moving average. We have a lot of moving averages that could create blockages for it. However, it's starting to find support down here, roughly $6. Let's draw this over here. All right, so I'm on the trend line. All right here. And if we draw a horizontal line down here at the bottom, let's go to the most recent double bottom that we see. So is this going to break out up above, right? I wouldn't get into this now. I would wait for it to prove the breakout. Earnings are coming, and we've seen a lot of earnings drop on a lot of stocks lately, even with positive results. Amazon pulled back, Microsoft pulled back, Apple pulled back, Baba pulled back. Baba's another Chinese stock. We also have Otter as well that has that downward price action. However, we're starting to see it surge a little bit higher. Almost looks like a reversal candlestick. I'm not sure I understand your question, how your trading chart looks like for your entries and exits. I never asked. Well, I go down to a 5-minute chart for that with the daily chart on the side, right? Okay, so this I would want to see it break above 41, but we have a nice wedge that's forming. Nope, not right there. That's not what I wanted. Yes, but I have them side by side, much like I show you guys. Hey, I don't want to get stuck just on the 5-minute or just on the daily. I want to see, hey, is there anything right here that could cause a blockage, right? We're over here, looks like it's found support here a lot, and we're testing that level. It bounced off of the 50 simple moving average. We do have an up ascending triangle right now. Would want to see that confirmation that it's breaking above $41, and it might. And we have a bit of a channel too. And you guys want to remember too, if you're going in that channel, that you want to go enter at the base of the trend, right? So hey, here we found a support here, like flatlined pretty much, and then it broke above. So potential entry right here Ride it up. Okay, well, it hit this moving average. Okay, great. Take some profit. See if it's going to come back down. Yes, sure enough, it did. Potential move. Maybe this will continue on up and break above, and we're going to see it heading to the upside. No guarantees. Remember, this is just my opinion on the chart at the moment. Goose. So Goose is a lower float stock, Canada Goose stock, right, for jackets. And I feel like it has earnings and then it surges, and then it comes back, has earnings and surges, comes back, has earnings and surges. And it almost like it draws down into earnings, and then every time that it has earnings, it seems to surge from there. So maybe this pullback is simply, they might bring it down to this 30 simple moving average and then surge it higher. It's just something that I've noticed with Goose. So, I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, I'm going to just go ahead and buy Canada Goose right now into earnings. No. Maybe potential lottery ticket on options. All right, Target. We are pulling back as well on Target. Hi, that's it. How's it going? We have 156 that I would look for a resistance to break out. Yeah, we'll look at AMD as well. So over here, you can see that Target, we came up, tested this level, pulled back, had another support level down here at 143.60, came back up, tested the resistance, pulled back, almost a little cup and handle right there, and we surged higher once we broke through this second resistance level. So let's do another support down here so you guys can see that really right here, right? So will we test here 150 and then pull back to that 145, or are we going to break out above 155 and then head on up to that 160 area and break out from there? You can see how this one really likes to trade on the $5 increments, and sure enough, the chart is showing us that as well. All right, Dan. Yeah, Julio, you know what? I think that's part of why the VXX is so high, is people have a lot of fear and uncertainty of what is going to happen into the elections. All right, so we have Dana Incorporated. On the daily chart, would like to see it break above 1481 over here. Also has a downward trend, right? This is pretty steep downward trend. Had earnings. Doji day, bouncing off of the 50 simple moving average. Let's look at it on the weekly chart. That's it. You're saying it looks like there's a big crash coming on the SPY and the Qs. Potential. There's definitely potential for that. When we back this out on the weekly chart, this might come back to 1280 before it surges higher, but it's below the moving averages, so this looks more short biased to me. It has not been able to really break above these moving averages. If it could break above 1627, then you mean an M? An M, that's it. 1627, which was also a resistance back here in the past, that I would think that this potentially is going to run up to $19 from here if it could break over here. But right now this is really looking more bearish to me. It's below, and it's just starting, the moving averages are starting to curl down, and it's below the 21 EMA, the faster moving average. Looks to me like this might test 1350 before it breaks to the upside. All right, Duncan, DNKN. All right, so Duncan looks like it might pull back. This was the day that they were talking about being bought out, right? We have a downward trend. We have some inside candles in here. And right now we have the gap fill, potential gap fill trade all the way down to $9.86, right? 9% to the downside. Will the bears come in and take over and say, yes, we're going to take this down? It's a huge gap up to fill, especially on the weekly. And how often do you see that it has these gaps, right? You don't typically see these gaps for Duncan. And that's a pretty bearish week that we had. Looking at it Okay, Frank. Yeah. All right, 90. So this might have a pullback down here back to that 21 SMA as well. You can see, excuse me, EMA. We have it over here where it bounced off of there. So again, this one is looking bearish. The whole market right now is starting to pull back. All right, let me go up. Yeah, we looked at Snap. Let me add EXAS. Whoops. Baidu. You threw me off with a lowercase there, Julio. Schwab, VIPS, and PWR. Another one that I want to look at, I know I mentioned it this week, but I don't know if everybody was there listening. GBTC, right? This one is primed for a bigger move. Let's look at it on the weekly chart. All right, so we've pretty much taken out this trend over here. Let's move this up here to the highs, right? Well, okay, guess what? We took out that trend too, right? And if we want to, we have another trend line. We'll make the shallower trend line right here. So we've broken out, right? This isn't a breakout. On the weekly chart, we really need to break above this high right here of 1575, which we almost tested on Friday. But you can see when we break above that, we're likely going to have a test up here of 1740, 1750 area, and then a high $18. If we can break $18, 20 will likely happen fairly quickly. And of course, this is tied to Bitcoin. So many online retailers are starting to accept Bitcoin. We've been dealing with a lot more digital currency during the pandemic because people don't really want to touch actual currency. Not everybody, but especially the older generation is starting to become more savvy in learning how to deal with digital currency because they don't want to deal with germs. So knowing that the older generation, which has a lot of wealth, is starting to look at potential digital currencies and learning how to use them, yeah, Julio, PayPal takes it. I believe that Amazon also takes Bitcoin. There's a couple other online retailers. Overstock deals with Bitcoin. So there's other retailers. In fact, let's check Overstock as well. And I forgot to add AMD on here as well. So Overstock is in a big downward trend, which is quite interesting because before this would surge higher when Bitcoin was higher. So it's trading independently now. And I can see that this has a bit of an M, right? Actually, the M would be right down here where that hammer was. So on the weekly, we had the M of 6270. So I'm actually going to put an alert. Hey, let's see if we can cross up above 6270. And look at that. It took not long, 1, 2, 3 weeks from 6270 breakout last time for it to pretty much double in time frame. Ah, that's it. I don't have any subscription just from me. That's it. But with the training pit, everything that we do in the training pit in the dark pools is all recorded. So all of the webinars there are all accessible. You know, once you download the PDF file that has the links, you're able to watch them at a later date. So if you're not able to watch it live, you can watch it later. You have access to the room 24 hours a day. So if you're not there during the actual hours of the market, you still have access to that data. And there's data that is, you know, some things that are great for swing trading, some things that are great for day trading as well. So what I do offer is I offer my daily watch list that I create every single day. So I don't know if that's it, if you're more into swing trading, or it sounds like potentially day trade, other way around. Swing trading, I provide my list more for day trading, but there's definitely some things in there that you could check out. Thanks for asking. All right, let's continue with EXAS. So EXAS, big up thrust candle. Look, it was not really, they brought it back down to the resistance. Yeah, they brought it back down to the resistance level over here, and we'll look at it next to the daily. So on the daily, yeah, look here. It's right at that former resistance level. Looks as if it's holding as support. So this might have a bigger move to the upside. They brought it back down to the moving averages and potential surge higher. Big, big volume on EXAS. And if it were to break down below 122.50 or 120.80 right here, 121, that would be my, this is selling power up here. So, you know, I would look for a breakout of 125 and support of 121 for EXAS, in my opinion, on what I would do from here. Okay, Baidu. So Baidu, I like this on the weekly chart. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see the inverted head and shoulders? Shoulder, head, shoulder, and we have a bit of a trend line like this, a shoulder line. It's not really straight, but if it could break above really 142, then we could see potentially a nice move to the upside for Baidu. However, this is also Chinese, so I'm just extra cautious. It's breaking above that 425. Is that why you gave this to me, Julio? Because of the 425 on the daily? I know, right? You guys watch that. Let's get rid of that line. All right, it doesn't want to get rid of lines for me again today. It likes to freeze on all that stuff. It's okay. What happened to FedEx last time you brought that, right? It surged higher. Now earnings are coming up on the 2nd of November on Monday. So yes, they've been on fire, but to me, it's like day trade territory, not hold on to forever or buy calls further out that you're willing to risk like lottos, because knowing what I know now about them, I'm just extra cautious. So Schwab, whoops, nope, don't want to do that. Schwab on the weekly, and look at this, you've been watching that 425, I know you have. All right, I see a bit of a W here, right? Down, up to the midline, back down, up. Hey, if we can break above $42, we're above that 425. If we can break above $42, next move, 44, 46, on up to 46.10. Over here, we have a nice gap to fill. It did fill before, just with an up thrust on the 1st of June. However, we might see that now we actually have valid volume behind it. And we do have that TD Schwab merger coming together, so maybe that is part of this. We also have VIPS. So VIPS, nice bounce. Look, it almost came to that 425. I just love that. On the weekly chart over here, it's cool to see the resistance areas over here. So let's put this on this chart on the right. All right, 1940 right here. So I'd like to see 1940 hold a support or break out above 2180. It's a bit overextended right now away from the moving averages, so we might pull back, but we have a bullish doji sandwich right here. Make me hungry. Bullish doji sandwich to the upside, but needs to take out that 2180 over here. All right, PWR, and let me add S by K, and we'll look at PayPal, AMD, and AMC. All right, PWR, we have a doji on the weekly right here, and we had higher volume. However, it was not able to break out above that high. So suspect here, selling, 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 another selling top. Really was not able to hold above $63. Did bounce off of the 20 EMA, excuse me, 421 EMA, and it had higher volume that day, good indication of a potential reversal. So it would need to break 63 with volume to the upside, or break down below 59.25. It did fill that gap and the volume came into it. So SYK, wow, big day after earnings right there, pulled back. You can see on the weekly it hit the 50 simple moving average and it bounced. So that could be that potential wick that we see over here on the daily, and would need it to break above over here. Take all these little indecision wicks out. 206.50. Would need to break above 206.50 for me on the daily. Otherwise, it's still in that bearish motion and might come back down and test down here again. So we shall see. PayPal as well. Oh no, net sky limit. All right, so PayPal pulled back and it's found support. It's almost setting up like an M, right, over here. So if it hits 174 to the downside, watch out, this might pull back further. However, this might be a pull down into earnings and then a surge higher, right? We almost hit that weekly EMA. Let's see what happens. When was the biggest? So it bounces off the 50 and really that 21. But it rarely hits that 50. All right, AMD. AMD is not looking pretty. However, we have not closed below this box of consolidation yet. This box was up there. That's interesting. It has not closed below 74. So I would watch that 74 level. If it breaks below 74, we had this doji candlestick just before earnings, bearish candlestick down, potential that it might bounce off of that 74. All right, guys, hold on. Let's go through these. All right, AMC. AMC is not looking pretty. I believe they were even talking about filing bankruptcy, right? So right now it's not looking pretty for them. On the weekly chart, look at that. They're testing that bottom. This has that H. Look at when they tested it here, it went from 12 down to 8, all right? Then we hit 629 and it pulled back down. Now we hit 750 and now we're almost down to that $2 mark. Potential pullback. I mean, this might go down to 50 cents, guys. I'm not really interested in it until I would see it pull one of these where we find that support and it's going to the upside. Rather wait for that proof than hold on to something that's talking about going bankrupt. All right, Guild, right? Let's check out Guild. Guild, yes, it is pulling back. All of the price action right now for the dark pool is above us. On that daily chart, you can see this big candlestick. Yeah, we're going into the 50s. And it seems potentially that, hey, they had buying power that came in roughly 57.50. And this just had that COVID drug approved. This was the one that was approved. And look at what's still happening. It's still pulling back. So would really need to see it break above 61.10 to really move to the upside. Right now, it's just following that downward trend down. This was the day that the announcement came out overnight. And hey, it squeezed those shorts and potentially people pulled back. Let's see, I went through all of these. Okay, JD, is there anything that I missed, guys, that you guys put up there? JD, nice, I like this. Do you see this? It's got a nice move to the upside. However, it hasn't been able to really break above over here, 82.20. Has a lot of selling power. It goes up one day. This is pretty whippy, right? It goes up one day, hey, higher volume, and it had a nice selling wick there. So needs to really close above 83.50 for a confirmed move to the upside, in my opinion. Right? And we have this box. Did you guys see the box? Right there. Whichever way it breaks, that's the move. All right? So patience. 80.30 and 84.20 for JD. You can see it had a lot of selling wicks on the weekly, right? When did we see that much selling and it surged higher? Well, we had it about here, right? Before earnings last time, it seemed to go sideways for a bit and then surged higher. I already looked at OSTK. Let's look at Workhorse. So Workhorse, yeah, not pretty here. It's coming down potentially to the support area over here, which is coincidentally right where that moving average is. That might be a nice potential entry. And it had a lot of resistance. It traded in this channel for a little while. Whoops, one day up, nope, right back down. And then earnings happened, yay, we like this, boom, up to up 50 or up 100%. And hey, do you see this 3006? Yeah, that's the dark pool. The dark pool took this down. Now, if we start to see major dark pool prints down here, guess what? Maybe it's time to get in. BABA. Yeah, BABA pulled back a little bit, but yeah, it's still pulling back. Test of support right here. If it breaks down below 295, then potential move down from here. We have a doji day, a little bearish, a little wick right here, so potential trend change that could be happening on the weekly right here after that doji candlestick over here, right? But it hasn't fully taken out. If it were to have been a big downward trend below 292, a nice big bearish candlesticks might go. Let's see, Leasy, never heard of that. I'm very weary with Chinese stocks. So Leasy, even NEO, oh, that's what you guys wanted to look at. Somebody had a question on NEO options. So NEO right now seems like it's really squeezing people up above. Yeah, I believe so. You know what? I've never used Robinhood Anonymous Stones, so I cannot tell you about their system because I've never used it. So I know that I believe that they're only open during regular trading hours, but I have no idea, honestly. I know that there's some other traders, maybe they could answer your questions, but I have never used it, so I would not be the person necessarily to talk to about it because I have not used it. So, all right, so we've got NEO, it pulled, here we go, it came up, it pulled back, came up. Is it going to pull back further? This would be a more narrow channel, and we have that sort of that wedge going on. Will it come back down and bounce off of 27.31? You know, net sky limit, it looks to me like if it pulled back to roughly 27.30, that's going to be over here on the weekly chart as well as a potential entry. We had that doji or inside candle and bullish that took it out. You know what, Julio? I will not use the stochastics as a reason on overbought stocks. Oversold is different to me because overbought, the shorts like to continue to add. Let's look and see what the short volume is on NEO, right? And I will show you the example of XRT where they just continued to short and short and short and short and it squeezed them. So NEO is 61% short, right? So let's look at over here, 61%, over 50%. For the past 5 days, 55% short, 57% short, 58% short for the past 20 trading days. So here, I'll show you XRT. Like I don't really use it that much. I just look at it, glance at it, but I don't really use it too much. Like XRT, look at how much the shorts got squeezed, right? They started shorting down here at $34 and it went up to $54, $20 that it got, they squeezed them and they kept adding and adding and adding. Now on the daily chart, did that look like it was overbought? Yeah. Did the shorts get in? Yeah. Look at how many times it looked overbought. How long was this looking overbought? From the 16th of July all the way to the 26th of August. So I don't use that as something on the overbought side. JKS coming down to the 21 EMA, and it's broken below. Maybe we're going to see this come back down to 50, 60. Maybe even down a little further, down to 48 on the daily. That's interesting. I didn't move that. All right, so Kyle is saying Robinhood is available from 8 a.m. to 8:30 pre-market, or 9:30. So 8 a.m. To 9:30 pre-market, and after hours 4 to 5. So 4 to 5 or 4 to 6. That would be 4 to 6 post-market, right? So it's not the full extended hours for trading for whoever had that Robinhood question. If Biden wins, solar's up. It almost seems like they might have already been moving it into the green energy. I mean, you look at, we have Tesla that has also had, this is a green energy company as well as an electric car maker, right? And it looks to have broken this trend. So I'm going to get rid of this trend right here, this channel. And we have a consolidation area. It's not small, right? But from here over, so whichever direction breaks, that's where Tesla's going to go for me. Try to keep it emotionless, guys, right? So if it breaks above 444, 446, we're moving higher. If this breaks below 356, we're going to go lower. And that's the 21 EMA roughly on the weekly. So Mark Cherry is saying, beware of Robinhood. The platforms are supposedly to be unsecured. I did hear from a lot of people allegedly losing money. I have no idea if they're FDIC insured, which is important for people in the US to consider, for sure. All right, guys, so I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. I know I said I was going to announce the winner of the contest for the book. I'm having a problem getting into it, to the contest platform. So as soon as I have that, I will announce it and I will send it out. Reach out to that person for their address to send out the book. So have an amazing afternoon. I don't know, did you sign up to win the book, Net Sky Limit? Maybe. There weren't that many people. I was surprised. Yeah. So, all right. Have an amazing afternoon. I will see you all at 12:15 tomorrow. And remember, if you want to do yoga with me, I will be doing yoga at 7:30 Eastern on Tuesday morning. And it will be heart opening poses. So great for opening up your shoulders, your back, your chest. Sometimes difficult for certain people just due to being vulnerable. So that's something that's really cool. You know what? It's already closed, Net Sky Limit. I had the contest open for about 2 weeks. And so unfortunately, I'm not going to add somebody else into the list because I already had people that already signed up for it. But I will let you know when I do another one and add it on as well. And it was for Day Trading Quick Start Guide by Troy Noonan, the backpack trader. So I will wrap it up. I wish you guys an amazing afternoon. See you guys in the market tomorrow at 12:15. Carpe Profit.